that giving that we're called to do, right? The Lord loves a cheerful giver.
Yeah.
It's the giving of ourselves that matters the most. And that's what threw me for a loop when I was thinking about this idea of giving. The Lord wants us to give ourselves.
Yeah.
What we put in the collection basket, what we give to a homeless person on the side of the road, whatever generous act we do, that's just an expression of us giving ourselves to God.
Yeah.
And when we take up that cross that we have to bear, that we ought to bear, and if we do it cheerfully, and I'm not saying with a smile on my face,
be perfect all the time.
You're not gonna be perfect, but if we do it generously and we do it joyfully and we do it knowing that He's walking with us, that's what He wants the most. He wants us to say, I'm giving myself to you. Is it Indians or Native Americans?
Probably Native Americans.
Probably. Why probably?
That's what I said, and Khalil laughed.
Well, I'm Cherokee, 10%. So
that's why I'm asking you, as
I'm not offended.
Representative of your people.
I'm not offended one way or the other.
I'd like to know.
I think natives is more PC.
So it's a PC thing. Of course, everything these days is a PC.
Well, because technically they were called Indians because they thought they were in the Indian Ocean. Because they thought when they were sailing, they were just going to get to Asia. So that's what they thought. They didn't realize it was like a whole nother continent at first. That's, I guess, where it came from.
Doesn't Indian make more sense? Because there's no such thing as a Native American. Like they came from somewhere. Yeah, there was a land bridge that they traversed to get to that continent.
Correct. That goes back to our last conversation. It's like there's so many people have changed so many areas. It's like who's actually native. I get it. It's hard. But, I mean, I guess they were pretty native. I mean, compared to the Europeans.
I don't worry so much about saying the right thing. I just don't want to say, I want to use language that's appropriate.
Yeah.
Indigenous, Indian comes from indigenous, which means native to the land.
It's the same, so it's redundant.
So it seems like when you say Indian, it's not.
I mean,
it's not supposed to be derogatory.
We said Indian for so many years, so I don't know why all of a sudden it became a problem. They even changed the Indians' name of the baseball team, Cleveland Indians. To
what are they now?
The Guardians.
The Guardians of the.
They had to get rid of
the Guardians of the garbage cans.
Yeah, they had to get
rid of the Guardians, the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah, and the Redskins are now the Commanders.
Commanders pretty tight. But if you're not Guardians of the Galaxy.
But the actual Native Americans are trying to get Redskins changed back.
Really?
Yeah.
They want to go back to Redskins.
Yeah. The Commanders just got new ownership before the season started.
Isn't Magic Johnson, isn't he involved with it? I think Magic Johnson and...
There's some guys that have partial ownership. But there were some fans that were excited because they thought they might change the name back.
Yeah.
So Commanders, they want to go back to...
Redskins, yeah.
The Redskins, okay.
And the Indians, no one really cares.
In the
Cleveland, no one cares too much about Cleveland.
So they'll stay the Guardians.
Guardians of the garbage cans of the dumpster. Guardians of the dumpster is all I care. I'm not a big Cleveland fan.
Yeah. What does Cleveland have going for it other than chili?
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They felt so bad for them. They had to give them something.
They gave them the Hall of Fame?
They gave them the Hall of Fame.
See, I didn't get, Disney did this thing a couple years ago where they started putting disclaimers on videos. Like Aladdin has a disclaimer.
Oh, like stereotypes.
Yeah, and I'm like, hold up. I loved Aladdin growing up. I didn't know anybody who didn't love Aladdin.
Oh, it's one of my favorite of the Disney movies for sure.
This is what the disclaimer reads, and if you have Disney Plus, then you know what it says. This program includes negative depictions and or mistreatment of people or cultures. These stereotypes were wrong then and are wrong now. I can't think of a single thing in Aladdin that meets that.
I think the only thing that they're maybe referencing is in the beginning in the shops. Like that's part of the culture of like bartering and what they call the bazaar. I mean, that's
what it's called. And people haggle.
I mean, what's wrong with I like negotiating.
Yeah.
I like getting what I want.
If you don't
better
do it,
deals.
you'll get ripped off. They expect you to do it.
When I go to the grocery store, I'm trying to get I just want to pay $2 for the milk. They don't go for that though in America.
Yeah, you're trying to haggle at Strax.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Girl behind the counter is like, what's wrong with this guy?
$4.50 is a lot for a half gallon of milk. How about I'll give you $3? No, they don't go for that.
$4.50 for a half gallon. What kind of milk are you buying?
Fair life. That's my guilty pleasure.
Wow.
Fairlife's the best milk in the history of the world. And Fair Oaks Farms is not too far from where we're at right now.
See, now I kind of want to try this exclusive milk that you're talking about.
I will promise you, it's the best milk ever.
What makes it good? It's milk.
It's ultra pasteurized, but it's also filtered. It's double the protein, half the sugar.
What does ultra pasteurized even mean?
Well, it has no lactose, so if you're lactose intolerant,
yes,
you could drink it.
And it tastes like silk, and it'll last 3 months in the fridge. But I last 1 day in my house, basically.
You're just chugging that stuff.
Well, if you're gonna pay $4.50 half gallon, the kids are not allowed to have it. It's like, that's dad's milk.
So you're not giving the kids the good stuff?
Do not touch my dad's milk. Yeah, no.
You get your crummy
gallon.
You get your $1.99 gallon milk.
Yeah, they need all the fat they can get.
Yeah,
So $4.50 a half gallon. It used to be like $3.50. That was $4. Now it's $4.50 a half gallon. But it's double the protein, half the sugar, and it's like Mike can attest.
Try this.
It tastes so good, and you have to get the whole. The red, they have a blue, which is like 2%. But it's local. It's a local farm. Fair Oaks Farms is.
I've never been there, but they say it's
you can
cool.
watch a cow get birthed, and
they say like one every hour.
Oh, this is from Fair Oaks?
Fair Oaks Farm is Fairlife, But I think Coke or Pepsi bought them. That's probably why the price went up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But we went there actually last year.
You got to be pretty big to get on their radar.
Yeah.
Coke or Pepsi.
Oh, they're huge now. So we went there. So I'm like, all right, $4.50. I'm like, all right. So if we go there, I could probably get a discount, like buy them for like $3, and they're good for 3 months. I'm like, I'll buy like 50 of them.
You're like, do you guys have a membership?
Yeah,
like,
no. So I go there, and you can't even buy the milk from them there.
Wow.
They're like, well, you can go to the gas station. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, they're so big. I don't know. They just don't have like a.
Like you guys have the cows. Just take a bottle back.
They have a restaurant there where they serve the cows there, but they don't have where you can just.
What do you mean they serve the cows?
They have like a restaurant. You eat like a steakhouse.
Oh, that's kind of.
It's really good.
It's kind of morbid.
Yeah,
it's a little bit. This is really good though.
It is awesome. So they also have a winter wonderland. We went there last year. It was awesome because I thought about the milk, but it turns out they had actually cool stuff for the kids. They had like ice skating and sledding. Well, that's how the wife caught me into going. That's how I agreed to go.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm sold. Let's get some milk. So it turns out couldn't get the milk, but it was fun. So in the forest, they built out like these awesome like huge bonfires, but they had like lights in the forest. They had like a dance party. It's like a whole mile long like walking trail, and they had ice skating and like a little sledding and stuff. So it turned out it was really cool.
So would you say that's your guilty pleasure?
Well, I give it up for 6 months out of the year. So in the spring and the summer, I don't drink any. So now I'm back on what I like to call.
You just don't like milk in the hot
gaining season. No, so bulking season. Mike knows. So so just cutting. It's a lot of calories. But like I said,
if you're drinking whole milk, half gallons at a time,
a day. That's going to add up. Guilty pleasure, yes. So I'm back. I'm back, baby. So life's been good.
This episode is not brought to you by Fair Oaks.
I wish, but it's nothing. You poured it into like a glass. Oh, and it's ice cold in my fridge in the garage. It was like super cold. Oh, it's so good.
I've seen they have a milk chocolate. Is that
milk chocolate?
Yeah,
chocolate milk
or chocolate milk. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little too.
What's the difference?
It's a little too sweet. So what I do is this is the.
So you've tried it?
Oh yeah.
Chocolate milk?
So what you do is I cut it put like this much chocolate and then pour the rest of the milk. It's still perfect because this is almost too much. Kids will love it, but a little too sweet.
I use it for my coffee creamer. I just put a little bit of that chocolate milk in coffee, and it's
oh wow,
that's enough sweetness.
And then if you're really into Fairlife and you like the protein, Costco has the actual protein drinks. They have 30 grams of protein, but they're hard to find. Like they're so hard to find at Costco. As soon as they come in, they're like out. So we have like other teachers.
Wait, what is this?
It's like a little ready to drink protein, like
Fairlife,
but it's Fairlife. They're 30 grams of protein. They're all chocolate.
Yeah,
they're like the greatest ever. Like they're the best tasting.
How much sugar is in these things?
They're low sugar. That's what's so good about it because there's like no sugar in it. 30 grams of protein, but as soon as they come into Costco, they're gone. So like we have like my sister-in-law works there, my mom works there. I'm like, hey, you see one? Give me a case. You give me a case. My wife's got other teachers and people like picking them up if they're there. It's like serious. So a sponsorship would be great.
Yeah,
I could.
Let's try to orchestrate a run on Fairlife milk at the local grocer. If you go pick one up,
well,
let them know Purposely Catholic.
Well, it's a lot better than drinking pop. I'll tell you that. Like milk, water, it's mostly what I drink. So I don't drink pop. I love
like if I'm having pizza, I gotta have a Coke Zero, cherry.
I just don't.
It just makes it go down.
No,
nice.
I agree. It's just not very good for you.
Oh, I'm not arguing that.
Yeah.
Not one bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, pizza and pops, like, or
Classic.
or pizza and beer. Those
Yeah.
go together good.
You see that thing, Cristiano Ronaldo? He was doing a press conference and he's sitting there in front of the reporters, as they do. And he had a Coke bottle in front of him. He's sponsored by Coke, I guess. And he just moved it aside and said, I'll have water. And their stock tanked like $3 billion.
Oh, no. I didn't see that.
Just him moving it down and said, I'll have water. He didn't say anything else. You check it out on YouTube. Their stock tanked.
That's how famous that guy is.
That's how powerful he is.
Yeah, that's great.
No, I did see the prank or whatever with his bust of his statue where it looked like really bad. It was like a prank against
saw
him.
that,
They
yeah.
made it look really bad on purpose. And then when they showed it to him, he was like, that doesn't look like me.
It's a hideous looking thing.
And then I saw a thing that was like followed up. Like if you look at some of the bronze statues from like ancient times, like how beautiful they are, like how much, like now it's like the technology, how have they gotten better at like statue faces and stuff? Like
Yeah.
some of these, like there was one like, it was like you could see the veil. It's like, oh, it's just crazy. But
I was, I think it was Tucker that was saying this. He was commenting on why everybody hates going to the BMV or the DMV or whatever you call it. And it's like, we've lost respect for people and it shows in our architecture.
oh yeah.
So you look at civic buildings from the past, any era, their civic buildings had beauty, had intentionality, had design. They told the story of the community. They were meant to reflect the glory of the nation or the country or whatever, the culture. And now you go to our civic buildings and they're just drab and dull,
Yeah.
and they're just basically designed to be. I mean, I'm going
Just
off his script.
utilitarian or functional.
Utilitarian, and just to corral you through to serve a purpose.
Just a giant box, basically.
Yeah, no thought. I mean, I heard that all. I saw the same interview, but then I also heard too. You know, that's like the Art Deco period, like in the 30s. They put people to work, like through the New Deal and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they actually hired artisans to make it beautiful. But if you look, those buildings are still standing. You know, that's the beauty. They were made to last. But they also, I think part of it had to do with the transformation of that. The churches weren't as beautiful either. That they were making the banks look better. So like this worship of money, like you go to the bank, it looks like a cathedral on the inside, and it was so beautifully done. It's like showing how much.
Well, that depends on where you are.
Yeah,
Because in the States, there is a thread within Protestantism that wants minimalistic churches.
yeah,
Right. It's these escape from idols, which we would refer to as statues or religious imagery. They do away with that, and they strip down a space to its bare essentials because they want to focus on the Word of God.
no,
But in so doing, you're also stripping away the beauty and the richness of the religious traditions that we've inherited.
but instead transfer them to secular buildings to make those look beautiful. But your church, we're supposed to be the highest where you're worshiping God,
Nothing.
minimum. So that was like a contradiction. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, well, what's most important? What do we want to, that's the misunderstanding of our churches, is that it's not like, oh, it's taking away. No, it's meant to elevate everything that we do in the mass, whether that's incense to draw our whole body. It's the bells for our ears. It's our eyes to see these beauty in stone and wood, to be transported to like we know it to be. It's to be heaven. It's to draw our minds up to God.
It's that criticism that you hear, and the church has too much, right? That's the criticism. The Vatican should sell everything that it has and give it to the poor, right? That really misses the point of why those things exist.
Yeah.
And they exist so that we as people can enter into a fuller sense of encounter with God.
Yeah.
Nobody, whether you're religious or non-religious, whether you're Catholic or not, walks into St. Peter's Basilica and their jaw just doesn't drop.
Yeah.
That they feel made small. And that's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Those spaces were designed, again, with this intentionality, to make us feel small so that we place ourselves before the grandeur and the majesty of our Creator. Some churches, even like the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem, the doorway is actually designed to be small.
So you have to.
You have to bow down. Monasteries do that, where you have to bow down
Yeah.
in order to come in.
Yeah. Well, who else made that argument to give the money? We can use that money for feeding the poor. That's Judas's argument with Jesus. Is like, why did you waste? We could have sold that for 300 days' wages.
Yeah.
What did Jesus say? He said, you're always going to have the poor with you, but it's good to do
About
something.
the perfumed oils. Yeah.
It's good to do something for God. Like, look, there's a story of the Hagia Sophia that the Tsar of Russia sent an emissary. He walked in, he said, this is of God. And like brought religion back to Russia just by walking in to one of the most beautiful places where, it was a church, because that's what it's meant to do. When you walk into these sacred spaces, you're supposed to be transported.
They just converted that back to a mosque like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
It's a shame, but it is what it is.
yeah. I mean, it's sad. It's definitely sad. I mean, knowing that that's, that our Eastern Orthodox brothers and sisters, it's, I mean, I know we could still go there, but yeah, I think they're actually using it.
Yeah.
I know you could still visit and stuff like that, but yeah, that's just sad. But that's what the churches are supposed to do, though. But has the experiment worked? Let's just look in our tradition by making the churches blander, what Bishop Barron calls a beige Catholicism. Is that helped draw more people or less people? When some people walk in, they can see those beige, those fluorescent lights. They can see that at anywhere they go. But there's something different that we're holding to, that's something worth to do that, something that's sacred. They just finished the Sagrada Family Church in Barcelona, Spain. They've been working on it for over 300 years.
Well, it's not done yet.
Yeah, it's almost done.
just-
Spires on the top have a little bit to go. But it's been 325 years they've been working on it. Some of these cathedrals in Germany
Still
and
has 50
Austria,
years to go.
800 years they worked on these. What does
Yeah.
it say? What's something that someone's put that much time, that much effort into building for God, that these people who are working on it, they're not just building a church. They're giving their lives to
offering.
this. It's an offering. Is that when they go, they look back, it's like, hey, I didn't just build a building. No, I'm building a place where we come to worship God. It's just different of how we view things, how we see things. Or, there was an argument about like St. John Church with the garden. I know Father Sammy talked a little bit about hospitality on his show, The Discipleship with You, that it's important to have these beautiful things, especially these churches or gardens. It's meant for everybody. It isn't for the church. We are the church. It's open to everybody. There's beautiful grounds where you can walk by the rectory and go sit by the waterfall and pray in these different places, or the church. It's for everybody. If you sold it, then nobody would have access to it. But this is the church, these beautiful places that we have set apart for God. It's also not just for God. It's for us. It's for us to pray, and it's open to everybody. No one gets charged.
That's the important distinction that we have to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Because you can have beautiful spaces anywhere,
Yeah.
right? The difference between a beautiful space and a sacred space is that a sacred space is designed and built with the intention that it's set apart for encounter with God.
Yeah.
And so when you enter a sacred space, you're invited to put aside the baggage that you're carrying and the troubles that you have before God, and you're able to come into his presence. And hopefully you can experience his peace. Hopefully you can experience his spirit. Sacred spaces do that in a way that, sure, you can encounter God in nature. That's the space that he himself designed. But it's another thing when we can create spaces as an offering to him, where we know I can go to this church, I can experience through this beauty, through the artwork, a version of religious expression and piety that draws me closer to God and to who he wants me to be.
Yeah, and look at the other side of, well, we can give that to the poor. True, we could. But how many people have then walked into that church, and then that's exactly what they did, that they were moved to a relationship with God, and they were moved to want to help and serve and give to poor. And that's what it eventually does.
Yeah.
Is that, but probably times way more, because eventually you sell it, then it's gone forever. This is a perpetual.
Well, it's gone forever. And the to build on that, it's looking at people one-dimensionally, materialistically.
Not their spiritual.
Exactly. As though if we fed them, they'd be okay. If we housed them, they'd be okay. Well, what about our spiritual well-beings?
Yeah.
What about our mental and emotional and psychological well-being?
That's a good point.
Yeah, our spiritual selves need to be fed as well. And it's in these spaces that they're fed in a very direct way.
Which they get both. You know,
They need both.
They get brought into community.
Yeah, you go to St. Peter's, right next door, there's a soup kitchen that's open, run by the Missionaries of Charity.
Okay.
It's open 7 days a week. So you have to do both. You hear things like the Holy Father just opened a laundromat, so they have access to those facilities.
That's cool.
There's public bathrooms that they sponsor, so they have access to those facilities. This idea of just selling everything and giving it to the poor, it does a disservice to us.
We're too materialistic, that's for sure. If that's the only way we see things. But yeah, money runs out, then what?
You know, that helped me with even my own personal giving. Because you look at, all right, how much am I going to put in the basket? Am I being intentional about that? Or am I just on cruise control? I throw in my usual $20 and I keep going. Or do I even put anything at all? You look around, if there's something you disagree with in the church, I'm going to withhold my money. If Father says something that turns me off, I'm going to withhold my money. If I hear something that the Pope said or the church at large is doing, I'm going to withhold my money. As if it's my money. It's not my money. Everything I have it's God's. I'm just a steward of it. B, my money isn't tied to my gift, my offering isn't dependent on how the church conducts itself. It's not dependent on how my pastor or father performs, quote unquote. It's not the quality of the homily that dictates my offering. My offering in that basket on Sunday or wherever it is, it's an offering that I make to God that goes through this organization, which is an organization that we believe has been established by him, right, for explicit purposes, to serve and to draw others closer to him. And so when I give, I don't give because I'm looking for anything other than to glorify God and to give him a little bit of what he's given me and what he's blessed me and my family with.
Yeah, we definitely shouldn't look at it that way. But it'd be kind of interesting if we were in church and his father's giving his homily, and it's good. Like you have oh, boom, boom, boom. You hit a button like as he's doing good, like
Scoring.
$5, 5 more. Give him some instant feedback. Like, hey, that's a great homily, Father. Boom, $20, an extra.
Speak with your dollars.
Yeah, like kind of how you do. How they do things now on the internet, it's like.
Could you imagine Father starts sweating like the numbers start going down?
It's like a running chart on the wall, It's like, oh, and he looks up and sees like, oh, it's all right. It's at 10,000. He's like, all right. He's working. It's a funny image. Yeah, it's giving is one of those things. I mean, that was the gospel from this last week, which was the parable of the talents. Obviously your money, your time, your talent, your treasure. What are we going to do with it? We're going to bury it, or are we going to use it for God's, whether that's putting in the basket or us giving it away some other which way. I've come a long way in how exactly I had that kind of a thinking when I first started, like, well, they're just going to use, like whatever for CSA or for whatever, that it shouldn't be tied to those things of what's going on. It's bigger than that. Because I heard actually Taylor Marshall was talking about that with all the controversies that's going on with Bishop Strickland, and that we shouldn't give to the Rome's like CSA, which is Peter's Pence, to not withhold your money from that. And he was like getting people to do that, which I don't agree with. It's something totally separate. We're a church full of sinners. We're going to hold people accountable. What we measure out to other people, what we're going to be measured out. So it's just like, are you wanting to give it conditionally or out of gratitude? This show is going to come out around Thanksgiving. It's just like to be grateful, to have gratitude, to want to give, not to feel like I have to.
And not just to give, the Lord loves a cheerful giver.
Yeah.
That's what we're told. Not a giver who gives with conditions, not a giver who gives begrudgingly or forcefully. He loves a cheerful giver who gives from his heart.
Well, it's not like, hey, God, if you do this for me, I'll give you that. That's just like a transaction.
Stipulations on gifts.
Yeah, it's just it's a transactional. It's meant to be a relationship. It's like, I don't work that way with my wife. Hey, if you clean the house and you do this, and if I cut the grass, and no, we don't. We try to our best to make it work together because we're both busy. Like, hey, you grab the kids and you clean and you do dinner. It's like, no, that's your, it's not transactional, like how we love each other. Well, now you did X amount this week. Now I love you more. It's just.
Giving makes more sense when you're in relationship.
Yes, that's what I was getting at.
Right. Giving has to come out of relationship. And so if you don't have a relationship with Jesus, which then leads you into a relationship with his people, which is the church. And if that's not healthy, then your heart's not going to be in the gift. Then the gift will be forced. Then the gift doesn't make sense. And I would even go so far as to say, if your heart's not in it, then don't give. not that.
Well, that's kind of like with the
No,
gospel.
I want to nuance that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you should give.
Regardless how you feel.
Not regardless how you feel. I kind of like this. It's sending me down. I'm an internal thinker, not an external thinker.
Well, I just was brought to the gospel like, hey, if you're going to bring your gift and you're not reconciled with your brothers, it still says leave your gift and then go make the peace. You know, that you're still supposed to, you don't leave and don't leave your gift. You still leave the gift and then go reconcile and then hopefully.
Is it make your gift or leave your gift? Go reconcile, come back and make your offering.
I don't know. I have to think about it.
Yeah, there's a distinction to be made there.
Yeah. Well, I guess at the end of the day, God's going to judge our hearts. So even if we left $100, but we did it begrudgingly, what's the difference of leaving $10 and I did it joyfully?
Yeah, I
the
guess.
The woman who gives 2 pennies, who did it out of her poverty, she wanted to give it versus, we're going to be judged on our love, how we do it out of love. Not that it's an obligation. That's too much of what people think about Catholicism in general, is that it's just like it's rules and obligations and people just do it because you said so, instead of that relationship that when your life is transformed by an encounter with Jesus, that you want to. That's just like I said, transition back to this Thanksgiving, is that having that attitude of gratitude, that not that I have to, but I get to. That I have enough money, even out of whatever, that I get to do this. I get to give back. I get to.
Yeah.
I have to versus get to is just a totally way that I help change. I view everything.
Yeah, what I appreciate about these conversations is that we can work through some of these things.
Yeah, because we don't have any really too much pre-talk or notes, or we're just trying to figure it out.
We did a little
powwow,
2-minute powwow, but there was nothing on this.
No.
I like the idea of you do the things that you don't want to do because you know they ought to be done.
Yeah.
And so you give not necessarily because you want to at first, but because it ought to be done. Yeah. And that is, in doing it, you're recognizing through the action itself that you're performing a virtuous act, that you're doing something that is worthy of being done. So your heart may not be in it, but give anyway. And the more you give, hopefully, the more you're drawn into the act of giving, the more generous you become. It's like working out.
Yeah.
You may not feel like working out, but the one who actually is able to show and lead a healthy lifestyle is the one who goes to the gym when they don't feel like going to the gym, because they know they need to go to the gym.
Yeah, because the feelings usually come second.
Yeah, the feelings usually come
second, because I don't know how many times I've been sitting on the couch, I'm like, man.
But intellectually, you know that I ought to do this thing.
Yeah.
And so I will do this thing. And then your heart follows sometimes, and that's okay. Yeah. You don't have to talk yourself out of it. Yeah. So if we're talking about being generous, I ought to be generous because I may have been blessed, or whatever the rationale you have. And your heart's not just in it quite yet. Give, and so doing, your heart opens up.
Yeah, it should work that way. I mean, that's just like same with the analogy of working out. It's that, but once you get to the gym and you start feeling the effects of it, you're like, oh, I want to keep going. But it's like you very rarely feel like it. Like me, I've been doing it for a while. I feel like it, but for the most part, like on a Thursday, like it's leg day, I'm like, I really don't want to.
But sometimes you get to the gym and you just drag yourself through a workout.
Yeah, but then once you get there, then you start to feel it.
Sometimes you don't, though.
Let's
be honest. Sometimes you get there.
That's where
that's where the duty
comes in, and that's the one thing we did talk a little bit about. Yeah, duty. Yeah, I said when we said it the first time, I'm like, duty? No, duty. Got it.
Yeah.
Duty. Yeah, but that was part.
Can you please cut that out? I want that as a short.
As a short? Duty. I was thinking of.
Just keep saying it.
Wizzo from Bozo the Clown. Duty.
We can make a separate YouTube video where it's only the parts where you guys say duty.
Say duty or weird other things.
But it comes out of a sense of obligation and of duty.
And that's what the one thing we did kind of just mention is that for Thanksgiving is that the Mass, Eucharistia means Thanksgiving, and that there's a part in the Mass where we say it's our duty and our salvation to give thanks to the Lord always and everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a duty. And it's our salvation. We're obligated to do it, and that's our salvation. It's how we're saved. That even when we don't feel like it, we still give thanks. Even when we're suffering or going through hard times or death or a loss or health issues or whatever, we still give thanks. St. Paul says all throughout his letters, give thanks always, give thanks always, give thanks unceasingly, pray always. Given that thanks, because what happens is that, I heard Tony Robbins talk about it like this, is that in any situation, you can find the good thing of it. Even in war, like we talked about last week, there's something God is working out of that. So in any situation, whatever it is, you can find something good out of it. Find the blessing. And in the process, when you find that blessing, you realize it, then you be the blessing. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, you'll be blessed because you'll find something good out of it. Now, and if there's something that needs to be done, God put that on your heart. That whatever, something's going on and it's on your heart, you found something, then do something about it. You be the blessing to somebody, do something outside of yourself, sacrifice, love, and in the process, you get blessed. Mm-hmm. It's that giving that we receive. So it's just like, it doesn't make sense. It's like, oh, I should be blessed first, then I'll do something, and then, then I'll find the good in it. It's reversed. God has it reversed, is that, no, automatically, always, everywhere, all the time, you have to give thanks and find the thanks. Find the thing to be, have that attitude of gratitude, to be thankful. And if it's not, there's something that needs to be done still, you be that person. Then in the process, you'll be blessed. Yeah, I use Tony Robbins. He's all right.
I was watching the Rock on Joe Rogan.
Oh, I watched that too.
Yeah, and they talked all about it.
A lot of
attitude of gratitude. And
it was like, did you notice like the tension?
I was like, that was a little too much.
Did you know? It was kind of fake. The whole
on that
thing.
show?
Yeah, well.
He came across so fake.
Well, they have,
I don't know if they had be real.
No, they had beef.
Oh yeah, they did.
Because he called him out.
Threw him under the bus.
Oh yeah, for doing steroids, yeah.
Well, no, and then The Rock called out Rogan when Rogan was going through some trouble.
Yeah.
But
that was what made it weird, because they didn't address it at all.
No.
So it was like a weird thing.
Publicists were working the show in the background.
Yeah. So but it's just weird. But I mean, obviously they have a lot. So there's a lot to be thankful for. I think that we need to, and like for me right now, I hurt my back. So the last week I've been in nonstop pain. The only thing that's helped me is praying and being thankful. We take our health for granted. Like I don't wake up like, man, my back feels great every day. Woo, it feels great. Yeah. But when it's not feeling good, you sure miss it right away. It's like only in our lack or when we're sick or when you're having a hard time, then you appreciate your health.
Well, duty is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
Because it conditions us and it gives us perspective.
Yeah.
So it conditions and it gives perspective. And that's what you highlight in the Mass. Yeah. It is our duty and our salvation, always and everywhere, to give you thanks. By doing that, by giving thanks, it's not like we merit our own salvation, but we enter into the salvation that Jesus has already won for us. What does that mean? We enter into the power of his grace that's made available to us that helps us throughout our day. And so it's not just available to us at the Mass. The Mass is that thing that sustains us when we leave it.
Yeah.
Right? And so throughout your day, as you're getting conditioned, you're also being given perspective that is otherworldly. So Father Milletta is doing a homily series, Father Milletta and Father Declan, on the cosmological struggle that exists, right? It's called God's Story, Our Story, and Why It Matters. And the Father's homily from this last Sunday, he had a line, disciples see things differently. Christians see things differently. And when I heard it, it stuck with me, because the Christian life is about perspective. We're all living the same life. Yeah. If you lined up 10 people, we'd all look the same. We'd pretty much act the same and talk the same, and right, with our own unique differences. But a Christian is one who's able then to encounter life, but through the lens of Jesus, through the lens of the gospel, have within them, because the Spirit lives within us, the ability to engage life optimistically, hopefully, joyfully, lovingly, with kindness, leading with charity. Not to say that we don't experience our lows. Yeah. We certainly have that. But even during our lows, we have Christ that accompanies us. And that's not like extraordinary circumstances. Those are our daily conditions that we live in. I told you before I came on the podcast, I put in a full day at the office and I walk home. I'm tired. I know we got to film this podcast. And I walk in, my poor wife, like the kids are dancing on her last nerve. Like, I don't know if I'm going to go back to a wife and 2 kids. Like I'm waiting to see what I walk back into. And I go, she is she's got the patience of a saint, but they're also sanctifying her, right, in the process. And so I felt bad leaving to come here, but a little piece of me was like, oh, I get to leave and come here.
Yeah, right.
She's being like, but the perspective of, all right, or the conditioning of, it's my duty to be a mother. It's my duty to be a father. It's my duty when I don't feel like it. I've got to get up early. I've got to provide. I've got to do the things. I've got to get them to school, make sure that they're eating well and they're eating healthy. Maybe not as healthy that warrants fair life, but they're eating healthy and they're drinking. Like I'm doing all the things that set up my family for success. And that strength comes from the faith that lives within us.
And that lens that which we see the world, that we should look different. You know, one of the big things for me was like during COVID, it was like I saw the world differently. And at first, no one knew what was going on, and people all thought they all knew better. No, everybody kind of was like, we first saw the pictures from China. People are dying on the streets, and whatever. How much was propaganda?
I got a story for you on this one.
But I had faith from the beginning. Everything was gonna be fine.
Yeah,
I just had that because
why?
Because
Why?
If it wasn't, it's still fine.
Why?
Because I have trust in Jesus. That I have hope. Hope isn't that I wish that it is. That hope is a guarantee. Hope is the different than wishful thinking. The hope that's a theological virtue.
Hope feels like a very wishy-washy, like
it's not
very cuddly, warm word.
No, that's what we need. We need to take.
Christian hope.
We need to take it back.
Yeah.
Faith, hope, and charity. In the way that we talk about it.
Yeah.
Hope isn't like, oh, I wish it's going to be. No, we trust in the promise. We have faith to trust the promises that Jesus told us that He can make things out of this, that He can even
hope
bring
is the fact that Jesus won the battle
already,
and that our future is brighter.
Yes,
because His face and His presence is in it.
Yes.
So if that exists for us today, that idea that we encounter Jesus today,
yes,
I have hope in that. I've strength in that, and hope is knowing that tomorrow, whatever may happen in the world, whatever may happen around me, if I am true to Him, I will encounter and experience Him. And I will be united to Him. And that's the beauty of it.
And then it was I think as a church, that was part of the things that we failed people in the time of COVID. Looking back, obviously everyone can say that now, but in real time, the church failed people and letting people be so lonely and die by themselves. I know there was hierarchy and there's all this stuff.
There's a lot that goes into it. Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it, but there has also been all kinds of diseases throughout the history of the world, and the church was the first ones running towards it, not running away from it and shutting the doors when people need it the most. But I know there's, people were scared. But
one of my favorite movies all time, Gladiator.
I was just watching it yesterday.
Were you?
It's on Paramount. Yeah, I didn't finish it because it's long, but yeah, I watched
Opening
the first
scene.
Yes.
He's Russell Crowe. He's a general.
Yeah.
It's peaceful. There's a little nice music playing.
A little birdie on a branch.
He looks at a bird, flies away. He's got a nice smile on his face. He's walking through, touching the grass. Just very peaceful. Like, I want to be there. Perspective. Camera zooms out. He's on a battlefield.
It's all burned up.
It's all burned up.
Yeah.
People are dying, suffering, pain, everything you'd expect with a battlefield. Because of that inner strength that he had within him, this stoicism that he had, right? He's able to put things in perspective and enter into the beauty of a moment.
Yeah.
As Christians, we have the ability to access that, not by our own strength, again, by placing on ourselves the frames that Jesus gives us. And that's the frames of faith, hope, and love. Yeah. Those are the real powerful realities that we can tap into to orient ourselves so that we're always seeing things through God's eyes.
But that's how we witness to the world when the world's freaking out, that we keep our cool. That
I wouldn't say but, I'd say and.
Yeah.
And that's how we witness. That's what we're called to do.
Yeah. And you'll know, like I said, I'm not superhuman. It's just that I had total trust and faith. Mm-hmm. I didn't doubt that everything was going to be okay. And if it wasn't, it was still okay because it's still God's will. It was like, I'm not going to, we're worry about today. That's what it says in Matthew. Tomorrow's, today's sufficient for itself.
Yeah.
Let's be the best I could be today, even in the midst of this. What can I do? I can pray. My wife and I, we started a podcast. So, everything happens for a reason. There was some good that even came out of something as bad as shutting the whole country down and the economy and all this stuff. A lot of good things came from it, and a lot of bad things came also. But how we viewed these times of crisis, how we view when things are going sideways as Christians, it shows our lens. Are we looking through, the lens of trust and faith and hope and love? Or are we looking through being scared and not trusting and being paranoid and to the point where we distrust people? We'll never want to be close to anybody again. And, this whole thing of being separated from each other when people, my grandmother died. I didn't see my grandmother die, but she couldn't have a funeral. It's like so many people were suffering and dying by themselves. So much of loneliness. So there's so much like the rise in all these, all this mental illness and all this stuff that's going on. It's just like, there's going to be things that happen worse than COVID that are going to be coming down the pike. And as Christians, we need to be not crazy, not naive, not like careless, but we can also show that we're Christian by our faith, by our love, by our hope. It's maybe an unpopular take, but I just feel that we could have did more. The one good thing that came out of COVID I did like early on, it's like going back to the back thing in your health, is that you don't realize how much you have something, take it for granted, like the Eucharist. Because we had, St. John did a great job of the media team and having mass. Every week we had couch mass with the kids, but it's like having Thanksgiving with no turkey. It was like, I missed the Eucharist. So we did find, because I don't know, some people that I know, they had an underground church that was giving out communion, like a drive-through. It was like right early on that we found, so we were listening in the car, listening to the SJE, like
you go get communion.
And like right when we pulled up, it was about the same time, like the liturgy of the Eucharist, and we had drive through Eucharist when no one was getting it. Like, remember Easter was like a big deal, like the first Easter is like, how can you have Easter without the Eucharist? It was such a weird time.
That's why communion is so important. It's in our DNA. Yeah. When people get caught up on God being triune, God being three persons, there's no theological argument that's going to fully explain to you or to any mind the complexities of God and himself, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Yeah. So we're always looking for analogies. We're always grasping for how to best understand God. One of the ways we do that is by understanding ourselves. We're social beings. We need other people. We may not think we do, but a healthy individual is one who identifies and recognizes that I need other people. I need to be in communion. It's okay to have your private time. It's okay to be an introvert. I need that. I need to go into my own space and recharge, but I need to eventually leave. I need to reconnect. I need to be with other people. True. We're created in God's image and likeness. That's one of the things that points to God, that we need communion. We need to be connected. And one of the things that the evil one does is he wants to isolate us. Yeah. He wants to separate us. And so this whole falling out of how COVID was handled, not to make this the COVID podcast, but it was, how do I separate these people? How do I isolate them? And that's why you saw a lot of cases of mental health issues, self-harm, substance abuse, etc. People didn't know how to cope, right? We were cut off from a true expression of ourselves, and that's being connected to other people. I would say on the positive side, it's like, know that about yourself and find a community that you can plug into. Yeah. So one way is, at our parish at least, we go to the same parish, is through Alpha, through Connect groups, right? You're a member, you've gone through both, right? I think you even host a Connect group. Yeah. Right? So find avenues of people who are like-minded. Well, this isn't a group of saints, right? This is a group of people that want to do life together, but they want to do it with Christ in the middle. So staying connected, very important. Yeah. We come together at the Mass, we leave Mass, we go into the world, we're seeking connection, we're seeking to make Christ known. We're able to have strength through the Eucharist that we receive, through the faith that lives within us, but also the perspective that Jesus gives us. And then we have to constantly be strengthening ourselves up and building our brothers and sisters up through these different pockets of communities that we establish.
Yeah, and that's what was missing. It was like so...
So if you're not plugged in, get plugged in. You got to find a way that works for you. And if you don't know how to get started, just stop Father after Mass, right?
Reach out
to a friend.
Reach out to us. We'll plug you in. There's a lot of connect groups going. Alpha is going to start back up, but I think that's part of, these computers and the I generation is that it can seem like you're connected on social media and FaceTime.
It's placebo.
But, that's why Jesus became a man. He became incarnate. The flesh was important. We're body and spirit. It's just like you're so isolated, disconnected that, it's a good thing to have if you can't, if you're on the other side of the world. But it all, if you can, then do it, get close to, but that's what happens. People are difficult. They're hard to be around people, but I think this Thanksgiving is a time for us to remember, it's in our families. Everyone's got somebody in their family that maybe they don't want to be there, or, you get the drunk uncle or.
Way to bring it around.
Yeah.
I like that connection.
Yeah, because think about it, because, there's always drama.
Why is it always the uncle? Why can't it be an aunt?
I've seen the aunts.
Do you have a couple aunts in your family?
No, I'm not calling anybody out. They may watch this.
I've got one aunt in particular, and she knows who she is.
Yeah, so
they're all going to be watching this. Like, is it me?
No, this year we do so very diplomatic. My wife and I, we do Christmas at our house and Thanksgiving, or we do Christmas Eve at her family, Christmas Day my family, but Thanksgiving we do every other year. Her family goes to Michigan. This year we're in town.
Wait, what was it? Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve at her family, Christmas Day our family.
Okay.
So we give both families, but Thanksgiving's only one day. So we alternate years. And this year my brother's actually.
You guys don't try to do like the morning here, afternoon here?
It's in Michigan, so it's like an overnight. It's on the lake. It's beautiful. We were there last year. But this year it's my brother's house. It should be good. But there's always.
I was talking to somebody earlier today. And he was, a common tradition is you sit around the dinner dining room table and you say one thing you're thankful for.
Yeah.
I tried doing that once, but.
We did it once too.
Yeah.
It was all lasted.
Didn't work.
It lasted once.
It was like, what's this corny? Like, we're not going to.
Well, it's always interesting because my family's not.
And it's always pray for health. I'm thankful for my health.
Yeah, it's really generic. It's kind of like at the Mass. Hey, what do you want to pray for? Pray for my health. That's usually what everyone says.
You know how I start that? I kid you not. When I do that, how can I pray for you? I start with, I'm going to pray for good health. Is there anything I can pray for you for?
So you preempt it.
Yeah,
because you know that's what they're going to say.
They always say that.
That's what they always
Which,
say.
I mean, if maybe that's something you need prayers for. We all need to pray for that. I'm going to pray for that, but I know you got something else that needs prayer.
Mine's usually patience. Because
I can see that.
As a parent, you just need more.
Tell me about it. Pray for my wife. She needs patience right now.
Yeah, right. So we did that. What you're thankful for. Maybe we'll bring it back this year. Because no one in my family is religious. They don't go to church.
Yeah.
But they know I'm serious about my faith. So like, all right, Bob, you want to do a prayer or something? But yeah, actually.
Oh, you're the guy, the prayer guy?
Oh yeah, well, there's no one else. So
yeah.
Well, my wife, but so yeah, I'm like, I appreciate it, So it's at least they create a space for it. So that's nice.
I always try to throw it back to who's hosting. Like I invite who's hosting because I'm like the default pray guy, and I'm honored to do that. You're right. Like it's a blessing to be able to offer the blessing for your family. But I always invite the host, like, please, it's your home. Just anything from your heart, and I'll finish it up.
Maybe I should try that this year. Instead of maybe they'll bust out the Simpsons. They'll rub-a-dub-dub. Thanks for the grub.
Haven't heard that one yet, but
no, that's probably what we get something that way. What also brings us back to we did talk a little bit about how Thanksgiving was actually Catholic before the Pilgrims and the Puritans came in 1620 in Plymouth Rock. That the Catholics.
Which Thanksgiving are we talking about? Are we talking about 2,000 years ago?
I'm talking, that
upper room Thanksgiving.
Well, that's even better.
That we do every day.
That one too. That's actually.
Or are we talking about?
I'm talking about 15.
New World Thanksgiving.
New World Thanksgiving.
Now that's also a New World Thanksgiving. What happened 2,000 years ago?
Yeah. Well, we can start there. Let's start. Well, that's what we kind of talked a little bit about the Mass. That's what the Mass is. That's what Jesus gave us at a meal, Last Supper, and last.
You mentioned earlier in the conversation, Eucharistia means Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So that. I shared a good quote that if God could have left us anything better, he would have left it. But he left us the Eucharist because it's the best thing he could have gave us.
He left us himself.
Left us himself. So what else gift could be better than that? And it's a gift of that when we receive it, we should be so grateful and so thankful.
I love that quote. I don't think I've heard that one.
I can't remember who it was. I think maybe St. John Vianney.
If God would have left us anything better, he would have left it.
Yeah, it would have been something better, and he called us, friends. He wanted us to have, and then he left us obviously himself and, the Holy Spirit and that's great, but it's how we approach it though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately too much, especially I'm not a cradle Catholic, so I see things totally different that I chose this, so I made, as an adult, made this as a decision. And the one thing that I knew of all the bad stuff that I did in my wayward life before I became Catholic, that I went to one mass when I was in 7th grade to play football. I was supposed to go through CCD. I went to one of those. They didn't make me go. So I'm like, I'm not going to go, whatever. And I went to just the first mass I just went to. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
I received Holy Communion.
But you weren't Catholic.
I wasn't Catholic, didn't know anything, right? So fast forward, when I was like 26 when I became Catholic, the one thing, all the sins, all the bad stuff I did, which was a lot of, all the bad things that I've done. The one thing that I was really worried about, the one thing that really was hurting me and that I was thought about was that.
What's that?
Receiving the Eucharist. That was the one thing I was so sorry about, because
You received it unworthily.
that I didn't know it. And that was one thing that bothered me more than all the other bad stuff I did, which was a ton of bad things.
Mhm.
That was the one thing that in my confession that I focused on the most, because God gave me that gift of faith in the Eucharist that was never a doubt. I knew that was him when I became Catholic. And for, when I was going through RCIA and going to mass every week and not being able to receive, that's once again that we take for granted the things that we just, as a cradle Catholic, this is what we do every Sunday. But when you're sitting there and you know it and you have to wait for 9 months and you're watching everyone else go, jealously watching and being envious that they get to, and then finally getting to receive, it's just like one of those things. It's just like, that was one thing in my confession that it was like, I felt so bad about, the worst, because I had that, thanks be to God, that gift of believing in the real presence of the Eucharist from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That was just something that was a gift.
Yeah. And that's a gift that we can pray for. Like, even if we don't have it, even if we have it and we want to grow in it, pray for a deeper understanding of the real presence.
Yeah, and that's good what the country's doing in the world, or at least in the United States, this Eucharistic revival and this 3-year process that's going to end up in Indianapolis, and they're going to do Eucharistic processions, and in our parish, going back to the kneeling after the Lamb of God and helping people realize what's going on.
That thing, that Eucharistic procession that happened in New York.
Yeah,
it was about 2 months ago now, something like that. What was it? 10,000 Catholics? Was it more?
And Father Mike was there.
Father Mike led it. Wouldn't it be an awesome reality if that were just normative? If something like that doesn't even make the news. But it was.
What's it going to be in July here?
Indianapolis, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're going to walk down 41.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the one.
Yeah, well, it's going to lead up.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the thing is. It's going to start like in Minnesota, and they're going to start it, and it's going to keep going all the way until it gets to Indianapolis.
Oh, really?
That's the plan, yeah. That's how it's going to
You're
start.
You're going to be out there?
Oh, I'll be there, for sure. Corpus Christi.
You're going to be walking? Figure out the logistics.
I'll walk as far as I can, for sure. Yeah, I mean, that's what better witness to give to people that we believe. That's our Thanksgiving, is to give thanks to the Lord. I mean, there's nothing. I try to go to all the praise and worship nights.
See, the church fathers knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
the apostles knew what they were doing when they called communion Eucharistia, Thanksgiving. The 3 thoughts that come to mind: it's Thanksgiving, Jesus, you made the sacrifice for me, right? Because the sacrifice existed. Well, it traces itself back to Abraham and Isaac. Yeah. Countless numbers of animals have been sacrificed to make amends for the sins that we've committed, right? To draw us back, to place us in correct alignment to God. But who ultimately performs that sacrifice? It's God himself through his son, Jesus.
Yeah.
And so thank you, Lord, for making the sacrifice for me. Thank you, Lord, also for making yourself small, right? We're talking about the creator of the universe. We're talking about a scale that doesn't even compute for us, even if we couldn't even try. And he makes himself into a wafer and wine.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord, for making yourself so small. It's a reminder that anything that I'm going through, that perspective of I too have to become small. I too have to humble myself. I too have to remember that the things I'm going through are small in comparison with the grandeur and with the awe, with the majesty that awaits me when in the future, in that moment when I'm united to God, God willing, right? I enter into that glory. So thank you for the sacrifice. Thank you for making yourself small so I can always remember to make myself small. Yeah. And then thank you, Lord, for just making yourself present to me. The fact that you can go right now into our adoration chapel, which is perpetually open, or into an adoration chapel wherever you are, or to a daily mass, which is going on probably within close proximity to you. If not, I mean, everybody for the most part can get to a mass. Thank you, Lord, for making yourself so available to me. Sure, I can go into my room, close the door, and my Heavenly Father will hear me. But the fact that he can be present to me and the gift that he himself left, thank you, Lord.
It's crazy that so many people don't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Because of the blessings that come from it.
So, Bob, I just said all that, and this past Sunday, I had to drag myself to mass. Like, that's real. That's a struggle. Like, people shouldn't feel like there's a difference between guilt and shame. We can talk about that. But I feel guilty sometimes, like, man,
you don't feel like it.
I'm tired. Like, you know, work, responsibilities,
for you, it's
commitments.
like work when you're there, so it's hard to separate those.
Yeah, you go to church, and it does feel like work when you're at church. But yeah, I'm like, I know all that intellectually. My heart's not in it, but you do your duty. You get the kids ready quietly, because if I say anything, I'm going to snap. You get the kids ready, wife gets ready, you get in the car, we do an Our Father, 3 Hail Marys, Glory Be, Sacred Heart of Jesus, Immaculate Mary, pray for us. Get to church. You get to church, it's that experience of going to the gym. It's like, wow.
Once you're there.
It's like just something like sheds off of you. I'm so grateful that I'm here. That was one of the night, like this past Sunday was an awesome mass. The church was packed. I don't know what Christmas is going to look like here. Still come out.
Yeah.
But the church was packed.
With the kids choir too, makes it weird. It
kids
makes it
choir.
Totally like to hear like little angels singing.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Father crushed it with the homily.
Yeah, it was good.
The music was just, it touched the heart. And then just to see people, I mean, packing this space that's built for God, that's set apart, that are here to give praise and worship and thanksgiving to him. Yeah. And like, I get to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, it's special. You know, it's a special place. We're blessed to be part of it. And it's the way that my wife and I found this church was through the Adoration Chapel. Yeah. It's like, I didn't even know the two churches were connected, the day chapel and the big church.
Yeah.
But we heard about this mythical perpetual adoration log cabin, and that's how we, you know, through the Eucharist, we found our home here at SJE. So it's awesome. But I feel what you're saying about the Mass, because like I said, I'm dealing with a herniated disc, I think, again, and I couldn't sit for Mass.
Really?
So I stood, like right now, I'm in pain sitting down. So at Mass, I stood. And then I got up, and when I had to sit and I came back, I can kneel, feels okay, but sitting down really hurts. So it's like a totally different experience. When you're suffering and you're in pain, little things irritate you. Like the kids want to say, all right, leave me alone. It's like one of those things because you're already like, you're not yourself. You're dealing with something else that's not normal, that you don't know how to process it all the time. And you're real quick to be snappy or impatient, or to be you're not yourself, because you're dealing with something that's bothering you, intensely. But like I said, once I was there,
scale 1 to 10, how bad is it
right now? Like a 7.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I offer a prayer for you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, I give you thanks for my brother Bobby. Lord Jesus, I ask that you pour out your Spirit on him. Jesus, you yourself have taken on flesh, and you know what it's like to be a man. You know what it's like to ache and to feel pain. And I pray your blessing on him as he goes through this current bout of back pain. Lord, bring him to fullness of health if it be your will. Restore him. that he can be the father, the husband, the man that you want him to be. Lord Jesus, we ask that you take up his offering of suffering and that it be able to work miracles. We ask that you lift up his spirit, that you use this period to free countless souls from purgatory, that you use this suffering to touch hearts and to transform minds for your glory. Lord Jesus, we thank you that we can make this prayer. And it's in your name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Yeah, and prayer works. Like I said, the only thing, I went through back surgery already, so it was a little over 4 years ago, so I was in intense pain, workman's comp. It took 6 months before I can actually get the treatment that I needed because they want you to do therapy, this and that, but like, no, it's a 10 out of 10 pain then. Today, like I said, it's like a 7 or 8. But the only thing that got me through it was prayer, because there's nothing else. I mean, the alcohol helps a little bit, but the painkillers didn't help. I mean, it's just nerve pain, something totally different, but prayer helps because
back pain and teeth, like they're two different kinds of pain.
It's just nerve pain. That's because teeth, it's your nerves. Nerves, it's just hard to explain it to people, but suffering wasted it's just suffering. But suffering united with Jesus on the cross for others, for souls in purgatory or for my family, it's powerful. And, no one gets out of this life without suffering. Sometimes it's stupid suffering, sometimes it's accidents, sometimes it's self-inflicted, but none of it doesn't have to be wasted. I don't know, as Mother Teresa said, that in, these nursing homes, these people are in the hospital dying, so much of it's wasted. How much good can be done through offering that up and uniting those things. And I appreciate the prayers. We taught our kids how to pray over each other and pray over me. So every day they put their hands on my back and they pray for me. And it's just, even if it feels better for a little while, but my wife, I think she does have a charism for prayer of healing. Because when she touches me, it gets hot.
Really?
Yeah. She's, so it helps. Prayer helps, and it helps when you're going.
And it's not, you say a prayer for healing. And if the person isn't healed, that doesn't mean the prayer failed.
No, not at all.
It's always a prayer of offering, thy will be done, Lord.
Yes. And sometimes it takes it away. Sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. And sometimes he works through doctors and medicine.
But what the prayer does is, it unites the suffering to Jesus on the cross. It places, it's like this, the reoccurring theme here, places things in perspective. Yeah. Lord, I suffer not alone, I suffer with you.
Yeah.
And so I offer you this prayer, that you may use the prayer and the suffering for greater glory.
Yeah. And sometimes it's for purification. Sometimes it's to humble you. Sometimes it's to remind us, hey, maybe you should be more thankful for your health. Maybe you should, sometimes it's to use it to help other people. Many people I've helped with back injuries or stuff like that, like to help them. Sometimes it's worse than others. Sometimes it's,
So I did all this research. Mike, how long have we been going right now?
Hour 5.
Okay.
Hour 5. Okay. We got some time.
So we doubled back around to the Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
we
we're
started
coming
with the real Thanksgiving. So now we're on to the second.
How did we even start? It's been an hour, so I don't even remember.
We started with Indians.
Yeah, we started with to take between Indians and Native Americans.
Yeah.
So Thanksgiving.
I gotta frame my mind right. Yeah.
So Thanksgiving is this Thursday, which hopefully we're probably going to release this on actual Thanksgiving.
Do you think, because we release every Friday at noon?
Yeah.
Do you think we could release this one on Thursday?
Yeah, we were talking, me and Bobby were talking about it before, and I'm going to have it done tonight.
So if you're listening to this on Thursday,
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
There you go.
Yeah.
So as growing up in school in America, number one, our school systems have always been Protestant. So there's a bias in the way that we learn just things in general.
Sure.
There's an anti-Catholic bias for a long time because I went through it as a non-Catholic, and they bashed the Catholic Church every grade school and high school. I can remember it clear as day.
And that shouldn't be surprising. That's just
history. I mean, that's why
fact.
we end up starting our own Catholic schools.
Yeah.
It was St. Catherine Drexel who started the first Catholic schools outside Philadelphia.
Well, that's why John F. Kennedy, was asked, "Is your allegiance to America or to the Pope?"
To Rome, yeah.
Or to Rome, yeah.
But we all know that Thanksgiving, the first Thanksgiving was in Plymouth Rock, 1620, when the Pilgrims left Europe and they came here, and made some peace with the Native Americans, and they had a meal with turkey and all this stuff. That's the first Thanksgiving. That's what we're all taught. But we know that it's really 1565, 65 years before the Pilgrims even landed here, that there was already the Spanish in Florida who offered the first Thanksgiving, which was a meal, but more importantly,
Preceded by the Mass.
On September 8th, 1565, which was also the birthday of the Blessed Mother.
Was it at the time? I wonder when that.
Yeah, September 8th. Yeah.
I wonder when it was announced, like when it was proclaimed to the church that's the day.
I'm not sure. And today, when we're filming this, today is the presentation of the Blessed Mother.
Yeah.
But the first Thanksgiving, it wasn't turkey in a Catholic sense. And St. Augustine became the oldest city in America. So and they built a cathedral there. I think it's called
St. Augustine, Florida.
Yeah, I think it's called
Our Lady of the Milk.
Yeah, Our Lady of the Milk, like Los Leches or whatever. Yeah, which is unique, but
I think I translated that right.
Yeah, it is. No, it is. Yeah, well, I mean, it's natural. They didn't have formula back then.
Yeah,
that's how Jesus was fed.
Milk has been a theme here.
Yeah, Fairlife milk, breast milk.
One of
it's all right. A lot of good vitamins there. Yeah. But so the traditional meal was like pork, fish, rice,
probably some
beans.
kind of ham.
Yeah, but they also had a meal with the natives.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were the Seloy, Seloy tribe, and so I thought it was interesting that no one's taught that there was a city before, we hear the first colony was 1607, Jamestown, and then 1620, Massachusetts, with the Pilgrims came 1620. But why did the Pilgrims leave Europe in the first place?
Religious freedom.
Religious freedom from who?
Church of England.
Church of England.
I feel like I'm on trivia night again.
Yeah.
I should have showed up.
I should have showed up for trivia night.
Who is the Church of England?
Yeah. No, we did have a Bible category.
Oh, did you?
They didn't do too well.
Oh,
I made it kind of hard.
Don't tell me that.
They made it kind of.
Come on.
Well, a couple
people. Where are you at?
Well, how many books are in the Bible? I think maybe half got it right.
Really?
73.
Wait, which Bible?
The Catholic Bible. Someone tried making the argument for 72.
Let's say 67.
66.
66, yeah. The 7 that were removed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a different episode.
Yeah. So, but
I have to go back to like my 3rd grade social studies to learn about Squanto.
Yeah. So
completely.
Yeah, it's a cool story because you hear Squanto like helped
He facilitated that first meal. Or
with the
Pilgrims. The traditional,
the Pilgrims.
Plymouth Rock meal.
And that there's a backstory to it, which is super cool, that Squanto was kidnapped by English, abducted basically. Hey, come check this out.
Yeah.
And then they took him to Europe.
Basically taken into servitude.
As a slave, basically. Went to Spain. And then he was bought by two either Jesuit or Franciscan. It's kind of in contention, but I think it's Jesuits bought Squanto, set him free. And they
essentially bought his freedom, yeah.
And they think he was baptized and he was taught English and he was catechized and knew the faith. And then he was free. And he went to England for a while to book passage back, to go back to where he was originally from. Mm-hmm. And spent, and this whole ordeal was like 7 years. He was gone from his homeland. Oh, I forgot. You know what Squanto means?
Wrath of God.
Wrath of God.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened when he went back. When he finally made it back to where his tribe and his family was at, everybody was dead from disease or, rival, other groups, and everybody was dead. So like what providence was that for him? Then this is the guy, he comes back and then he helps facilitate, because he speaks English, to help the settlers from Europe, one of the first colonies to set up, to welcome them and help them, because half the Pilgrims died on the Mayflower.
Yeah.
And then there was the winter when they got here and they didn't know what they were doing. The soil was too rocky. They had all these different issues and problems of trying to have food. They tried communism off the rip. Hey, everyone's just going to work together and it's just going to be utopia. And that didn't work out because not everybody's going to, do their part, which they didn't. So William Bradford, they worked it together and they made alliances. But through Squanto, a Catholic who spoke English, taught them how to farm, how to fertilize.
I wish we knew more about them.
There was very little.
There's not a lot
there's not a whole lot recorded about it.
But talk about a shift in perspective. I mean, if you come back and your name's Wrath of God, and you find out that your whole village has been taken out by neighboring tribes
and disease,
and the family that you're probably hoping and praying that you can be reunited to one day is no longer there. To be able to go from not descending into darkness, but into facilitating the encounter of welcoming a foreign people into your land. I mean, that can only be a strength that comes from faith. I don't know where else you would find that.
Especially the same people that already would have kidnapped you the first. The English were the one who kidnapped them.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird, but he would have been dead.
Yeah.
So but to even be thankful that even by being kidnapped and sold into slavery and all this that he could still look at it two different ways. He could have looked at or look, hey, you were able to look at what United States has become. And, if it wasn't for him, who knows how that first settlement would have been. Eventually it would have been more people coming through. Eventually they had a Catholic colony in Maryland. But for the most part, Pilgrims were leaving England to get away from the Anglican Church, from the parts of the Anglican Church that they thought was still too Catholic. Because the Anglican, they're like our cousins. Mm-hmm. They still have like a traditional type service. They're not non-denominational. But the Puritans, the Pilgrims, they wanted Bible-based. They wanted to throw out everything, including Christmas. A lot of people don't know this, that Christmas was illegal in the United States until 1870.
Illegal how?
It wasn't, so like the Puritans, they didn't want anybody celebrating Christmas because they saw it as a Catholic thing, Christ Mass, that it was just drinking and partying and it was like a big celebration.
When you say illegal, what does that mean?
That it was outlawed. It wasn't until the year 1870, Ulysses S. Grant made it a national holiday. The first state before that was like in the 1840s in Alabama. But they
were there laws against Christmas?
They had posters up that said, no, Christmas is a prohibition against Christmas, yes.
There are laws on state books that prohibit Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have like a bunch of flyers. Yeah. William Bradford was really behind that because they were really trying to separate themselves from the Catholics. That's how anti-Catholic they were. And that's, that really went deep through many years. Anti-Catholicism is a big deal throughout United States history. From the know-nothings, in that time in England, they were killing Catholic priests. In the 1500s, they had this huge,
look at how many saints have come out of that.
Yeah. There was
Thomas More.
Yeah.
Campion.
But there was a lot that was widespread throughout all of England. Anybody who was still celebrating the Mass, they had a lot of priests were murdered other than, Thomas More.
There's a great book on that. I think it's called The Rope and the Rack. You read it?
There was a good HBO show.
It's really good.
There's a good HBO, like a short, 4-part series.
On this?
Yeah, with Guy Fawkes, the whole Guy Fawkes conspiracy to blow up the Parliament. Yeah, he was Catholic. He was trying to blow him up because they were killing Catholics. They're going around. It's like 4 parts. It's the guy who played Jon Snow. He's the main star.
Oh, okay.
I forgot what it's called. We'll put it in the show notes if I remember it. But there was a streak of this anti-Catholicism, and that transferred into the United States. Because what was, especially in like New York, as the immigrants were coming more here, the Irish were coming, and the Italians, and the people who were Protestant.
Classes started forming.
Yeah. Gangs in New York. That's based on some true stories. And
what I loved about what stood out to me in Squanto's story, kind of revisiting it, is the role of providence in all things. So we kind of glossed over that, but to really see God's hand at work, sure, evil does happen. That's a whole other conversation. But how he was removed from that situation through crooked lines, right, which are drawn straight through God's providence, enters the faith, is baptized, learns the language of a whole different world, is then brought back, and is someone who facilitates community, someone who facilitates welcome and hospitality and encounter, so much so that the Pilgrims consider them one of their own, right? These people who were kind of really cloistered in on themselves, considered this outsider one of their own, is really a beautiful story of God's providence. Like, things can happen to us that we lament in the moment, and we can easily ask, why, God, why would you let this thing happen? But if we are able to step back and look at things through God's eyes, through the frames that he gives us, sometimes we can, but most times we can make the connection and draw out the good for why it was that we went through the trials that we experienced.
Yeah. What was it? William James said that life can only be understood when you look backwards. You know, it's like, I like the image of
hindsight's 20/20. Right?
Yeah, it's like a tapestry. When you look at a tapestry, if you're looking at it from the back of all the stitches,
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. A stitch here, stitch there, it looks nasty, and you flip it over. It's like, wow,
you
all
ask
that
yourself,
wove together.
God, why didn't I get that job, or why did I get laid off, or why did I get this illness, or why would this happen to my kid? But then as you live through it and you come out of it, usually you come out of it stronger, especially if you're allowing Jesus to carry that cross with you. Yeah. And then you're able to look back and say, oh, now I know why that happened.
Yeah, but it's hard in the
moment. It's easier said
than done. But
those are
those lenses that we keep talking about, is that if we're wearing them in the middle of it, that's what we have to keep, saying. I know I have to keep reminding myself when, I get shocked with the shockwave of pain that he's with me.
Yeah.
That even in these things I don't understand why, you don't understand it why, but there's always things that happen later on. I look back like, oh, okay.
Well, what's the thing he tells us? In the world we'll have suffering.
Period.
The thing he promises us that we're each going to carry a cross.
Yeah.
And we all carry crosses that no one else knows.
Yeah.
But he knows, and he wants to walk with us, and if we let him do that, then we'll be transformed through it.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to what this whole theme of Thanksgiving is, that even those crosses, we can be thankful for them.
Yeah.
Because we get two options when we're carrying a cross. Some crosses we have to voluntarily pick up, to deny yourself, carry your cross. But some crosses are pushed on us. And those ones are harder because it doesn't feel just. Mm-hmm. But we have two choices: give thanks or be bitter. Do I want to be better? Do I want it to purify me, to help me to be more patient, understanding of other people who are suffering? Or do I want to be a jerk to everybody who's around me and complain and be bad and just blame God and feel sorry for myself and just make it worse? Because it can always be worse. My back can hurt, and then I can get in a car accident, or I can have something else. It can really get a lot worse, but I'm going to suffer no matter what. Do I want to try to be better? Do I want to learn from it? Do I want to help other people? Do I want to pray for other people? Do I want to unite it? Or do I want to be a jerk? Do I want to be a crybaby or complain about it 24/7? Or,
Well, it's that giving that we're called to do, right? The Lord loves a cheerful giver.
Yeah.
It's the giving of ourselves that matters the most. And that's what threw me for a loop when I was thinking about this idea of giving. The Lord wants us to give ourselves.
Yeah.
What we put in the collection basket, what we give to a homeless person on the side of the road, whatever generous act we do, that's just an expression of us giving ourselves to God. Yeah. And when we take up that cross that we have to bear, that we ought to bear, and if we do it cheerfully, and I'm not saying with a smile on my face,
be perfect all the time.
You're not gonna be perfect, but if we do it generously and we do it joyfully and we do it knowing that he's walking with us, that's what he wants the most. He wants us to say, I'm giving myself to you, right?
And it makes it lighter. You can make it heavier. You can really make it worse by being bitter about it. Really it's bringing you to hell more. I mean, it just really is. It's like, it feels lighter when you
accept it.
Well, just like anything, if was it Blessed Carlo Acutis said that when we look in on ourselves, if I'm just focused on my pain and me and what I'm going through 24/7, that's when you get depressed.
Yeah.
Because but if you move and you're thinking about other people, even in your suffering, I'm thinking about somebody else.
Yeah.
Then you're not thinking about the pain because you're thinking about somebody else or what you have to do. And that's what he said. That's what sanctity is just a shift of our eyes, to moving them off ourselves, to move it to God and to others.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do that because we still have bills. We have so much stuff that
life is real.
Life is real. We got all these things that we have to do. But that's why prayer, taking time to take a step back throughout our days, whether that's starting our days or before our meals or going to mass, whatever it is, that helps us get that perspective to, okay, all right, this isn't about me all the time. God, help me, be with me, guide me, whatever that is going to be. But if we don't take that time, take that perspective, it's all about me. I mean, that's really what, how I used to live my life before I became Catholic. I wasn't focused on anybody else. It's like, what's in it for me? What's the least amount I can do? If it feels good, do it.
You see that. I mean, culturally, the people that are the most happiest are the ones that are inward facing. They're the ones that are glued to Instagram and social media. They're the ones that are always looking next door at what the neighbors have.
Yep.
Right.
And who are the happiest people? Who have people you see in poor countries who have nothing, and they're just smiling because they're just living, enjoying in communion with their family.
Well, they're grateful for what they have.
They're back to the Thanksgiving.
And they're grateful for their neighbor. They're not envying their neighbor. They're grateful for them.
So what does that tell us? That even being grateful, but having nothing and you're still thankful for that, you can still be happy and live a great life. I mean, we're tying our happiness on material goods. It's not going to bring happiness.
I love there's that, I often do this. And they're on my mind because it was a chaotic day today. But with the kids, like for example, you think, God willing, long life, you're in your 90s, 80s, 90s, and you're about to you're taking your last breaths. And you're moments away from your last breath.
Yeah.
How much would you give to be able to go back to your most frustrating day when it was chaotic and when it was rough at the office and when the house was just a mess and things weren't going your way and your car's got a flat and I mean, your back's out and the list can just pile on and on and on. But in that moment, how much would you give to go back and to take a moment and to kiss your wife, to hug your kids, to appreciate the home that you're in, to appreciate the fact that you have a job that provides for you, that you have a car that gets you from point A to point B, that your back will be on the mend, that you're going through a periodic trial. How much would you give to go back to that moment? And again, it's perspective. It's like just to be thankful for what I have when I have it and not constantly looking back thinking, oh, it was great then, not so great now. Or it'll be better then, but it's not so great now.
What are some things that you do that helps you to remind yourself to be thankful?
Honestly, Bobby, I think for me, life is always consolations, desolations. Life's always highs, it's always lows. Rarely is it ever static. And so if I am grounded in the practice of my faith, right? If I'm regularly entering into prayer, if I'm offering up little, even just throughout the day, Lord Jesus, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. Lord Jesus, thank you. Right? That's all it has to, it doesn't have to be more than that, right? Throughout the course of the day. If I'm doing that, I'm always wearing those lenses of thank you, God, for today. If something tough's coming, right? Jocko, what does he say? Good.
Good, yeah.
Right? If a curveball comes your way, good. If you're having a tough time, know that this too shall pass. Good. Yeah, it's crazy right now. You know what's going to happen? I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to go home. Kids are going to be in bed. My wife, she'll get some time just to decompress, right? And then she'll miss the kids again. Don't wake them up.
Exactly. Don't wake
them up.
As soon as they wake up.
But dude, she'll just sit there like watching videos and pictures of them. Like it's in that moment that I love her even more. But it's like this hard thing, this too shall pass. Yeah. You got to go through it. And it sucks going through it. You're in the mud, you're army crawling, you're doing the thing, you're getting through. It sucks to go through it, but you got to go through it and it'll pass. Just having that frame of mind, that's what helps me to always just be grateful. Like, thank you, Lord, that I get to be present here. Thank you that I get to go through this. Thank you that you're walking alongside me. Lord, make me small, make me humble. And it puts things in perspective.
Yeah, I try to, when I start my day, I do the offering every morning as soon as before I get out of bed. Not the one for what is it? Lord, I offer you all this day of brings, the joys, the sufferings. I do that. And then I try to do like 20 to, sometimes I do 50 things of just things to be thankful for, like the things that we take for granted.
So you mentally
say them out loud.
Yeah.
Well, I don't say them out loud, but I say them in my head.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for this running water. Thanks for my
Yeah.
Thanks for my kids. Thanks for this house. Thanks for my job. Thanks for the insurance. Thanks for the car. Thanks for my dog that I love.
There's so much you start listing off.
Yeah, you just start, because then it helps shift your perspective on, instead of the things that I don't like of my day, that are coming, So I try to do that.
You're not waking up and thinking of the struggles that today has in store for you.
You can't, because those are coming regardless.
Yeah.
But if I preemptively be thankful, then the other things don't come as hard. They're going to come, but then it's easier. Because if you list a lot of things up front, then the few things don't seem as big. It's like pros and cons list. It's like, look at all these pros. I got tons on this side. Cons, okay, it might be this difficult coworker, or hey, it's cold outside today, or it's rainy, or whatever, or it gets dark at 5 o'clock, whatever.
Yeah.
Those little silly things. But we outweigh the gratefulness. But like the Jocko thing is that, that's part of what we started with, is that even those tough things, good, thank you. Not even good, thank you. Because that's making me a better person, or that's your will. So thank you. Whatever that is, we don't understand. I mean, look at Job. He could have been really mad at God, made a deal with the devil to tempt him and take everything away, but he didn't complain. He just didn't understand it. His friends, made him feel guilty and all that other stuff. But
I love the starting out with the thank you, the litany of thank yous.
yeah,
Because they often say, do the hard thing first. Get the struggle out the way.
Yeah.
Whether it's a task that you have to accomplish,
Yeah.
go to the hard thing. Don't put it off. They tell you waking up, getting a workout in the morning.
Yeah.
It aligns your day if you can.
Yeah, do something.
Do a
tough.
cold shower in the morning. That's popular right now. Do something tough in the day. It sets you up for success the rest of the day. But in the spiritual life, wake up, give thanks at the start of your day. It'll set you up for those highs and lows that your day is going to bring anyway.
It's coming.
Highs and lows are going to come, but if you can encounter them with a grateful disposition, you're going to go through them a lot easier. The swings are going to be as wide.
Yeah, and it's just setting a framework. Like I said, the thing that Tony Robbins does is that so then when it does come, you can still find the blessing from it.
Yeah.
Like you may not understand it in real time, but maybe at the end of the day when you're doing an exam and you're like, oh, that I don't understand that. Oh, I see that. Okay. Now in that situation, that gave me an opportunity to compliment somebody, and then man, I felt better about myself, or whatever, something like that, where sometimes we don't understand it in the real time. That's why I pray a lot for God, give me kingdom vision in real time.
Yeah.
Because you don't get to see it.
That's funny. We have the same prayer. I pray, Jesus, let me see others as you would see them.
Yeah.
And Jesus, let others
in
see
real
me.
time. Like it's
If
easy
you
to do
want
it
that
after
too.
you walked away from it.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I shouldn't have said that or that.
Yeah.
But like to be present, to be in that moment in real time.
Yeah.
Like that's the hard part, because you're worried about the kids at home and the wife and this and the job and traffic or whatever. It's like, it's hard to do that in real time. So I always try to have that as my prayer, like real time.
Yeah.
Real time lenses. Help me to keep those lenses on. Like we keep going back to.
As we wrap it up, I've had this like earworm, or this thought I couldn't get rid of. I can't get rid of. What's that movie with Kevin Costner where he goes out into the West and is basically adopted?
Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves. It's not Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah, Last Mohicans with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
Awesome movie.
Awesome movie.
I haven't seen Last of the Mohicans. Daniel Day-Lewis. He's awesome. I love him.
Yeah, I think he won an Academy Award for that too. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think there's
I don't know.
the Mohawks, I think, in the Northeast.
Okay.
Yeah. It's worth watching. It's a book, I believe.
All right. Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, Dances with Wolves. Well, yeah, now Kevin Costner's got the Yellowstone Empire. It's like the whole West, and that's his thing now.
Have you seen Yellowstone?
Oh yeah, all the Yellowstones and all the spin-offs.
I started
1923.
looking up cowboy hats.
Oh no, you didn't. I had a pair of cowboy boots.
I didn't realize how expensive
They
they
are.
get.
Yeah, they're.
I mean, $1,500, $2,000 for a
Yeah.
hat. I'm like, I'd look good in a bucket hat. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, I know. After
get a
everybody
hat.
watches Yellowstone, everybody wants a cowboy hat. Yeah,
Yeah, you see those like reels on Instagram.
that dude
Like
ripped.
first season,
Yeah,
you're just sitting on the couch in like pajamas. Second season, you get more. By the end of like the whatever season
Yeah.
they're on, you're dressed like Rip with a hat and a black jacket.
yeah. And actually, the prequel's pretty good too. 1883
haven't
with
seen
Tim
that
McGraw and Faith Hill.
Yeah. Have you seen the last season of Yellowstone?
Yeah,
Is it the last season or are they still
they
going?
got this one. They're working on one right now.
There's another one.
Then there's a new spinoff. So they got 1883. They got 1923 with Harrison Ford. They got regular Yellowstone. Now they're going to have 1944 with Matthew McConaughey.
Really?
Yeah. And then now they have a new show
All right.
with the same producer, Bass Reeves, lawman. He's the first black deputy marshal. It's the same producers. It's pretty good.
What I'm watching right now, John Adams,
Ooh, yeah, that's good.
Paul
HBO?
Giamatti.
Yeah, it's good.
So good. I mean, talk about like the start of America and the coming to the New World and how it all got founded. Those men, and this is just a depiction, so we're seeing them one-dimensional.
It's on a book.
Those men were so, I mean, they were men of their time, but they were also out of time. To be able to produce what they produced and to rise up to the challenges that they faced, to be so intentional and so thoughtful with,
especially
with
Adams.
what they were going through.
Adams was something else.
And to help give birth to the country that we are blessed to live in.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And then what angers me is like, we're tearing these men down, figuratively and literally, because we're judging them by standards which weren't even on their radar.
Yeah.
I mean, God save us from the standards that we get judged by 100, 200 years from now.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring to see the difficulty that they traversed and overcame to do what they did.
Yeah, and John Adams knew that, these laws, this Constitution, that this was being set up for people who were religious, who had believed in God, that with people without a morals, without religion, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
There is a lot of reciprocal way that we live. We're made in the image and likeness of God, that these laws are meant for people who live a moral life, and he knew that. And that's what back to Thanksgiving is that the first Thanksgiving was celebrated. George Washington declared Thanksgiving. It wasn't for a meal. It was to give thanks to God, the creator of all the good. It had nothing to do about
not just to give thanks, to give praise.
Praise and thanks.
To give praise and thanksgiving to God. As a nation, we ought to do that.
And that's, you don't hear that. Now it's all
not
turkey.
It's all Friday deals.
It's all, exactly.
And
it's
not
all
to save money
consumerism.
on the coffee machine that you want that's a little too expensive and your wife won't let you buy.
Yeah, that they jack the price.
Spot.
They jack the price up
Right before, and then
they just
cut
change
it
the
back.
price and say it's like it's really not even. It's like such marketing tactics.
Oh, dude, the commercialism of that holiday. So growing up, my dad, he had restaurants and malls, and it was always you opened up early on Friday. Like we'd be there all night getting ready, prep for the following day because you opened up early, right? Black Friday shoppers. Now everything happens online, but it started encroaching on Thursday. So like they wanted you open Thursday at midnight. Then it was like 11. And then it was
All
8.
day.
And now it's open. It's like there's no respect. As a nation, we're not setting apart a day, an afternoon where we can come together, give praise and thanksgiving to God. Well, I mean, look at what's happening to us as a result of it.
Yeah, and that's where I can see the Puritan side somewhat, because there's a obviously there's going too far, but to have that's what they wanted to be set apart that much where they didn't want it encroaching on everything else. Like in South Holland, those are
even on Sunday
they're closed. They're closed on Sunday because they want to safeguard that. Like, hey, we're not even going to be open. We're going to let people, because what happens? You may not, but those people who work there, they're going to be away from their families.
Let's be honest though, that Chick-fil-A craving hits harder on Sunday.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Sunday morning, you want that biscuit? Oh, they're closed. Come on.
Oh, I don't know how many times
Killing.
after church I know I want a spicy chicken sandwich. I love Chick-fil-A. Extra pickles.
That's my order.
Extra.
Unbuttered bun, extra pickles, spicy chicken sandwich.
Oh, it's the best. Well, in college, we had one on our college campus in the food court when they first, they're big in the South, Midwest. We had them before a lot of people who knew Chick-fil-A was. I was maxing Chick-fil-A every day for like 2 years, man. It was on my meal plan. It was awesome. It's great. But I just took down 30 nuggets. I'm like, how much is 30 nuggets? Like $17. I'm like, all right. I ate it in the car on the way home. I ate 30 nuggets.
Chick-fil-A nuggets?
Yeah.
Wait, just now?
Oh, no, this is like a week ago.
Okay.
But I never had the nuggets. I always get the sandwich. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, they're not that big. I'm like, give me the 30. Like before, I couldn't even wait till I ate all 30 before I even got home. It was like a 5-minute ride.
Was it enough?
I probably could have had 60.
Because they're tiny.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. So what's on the menu for Thanksgiving? You guys deep fry one, or you just do the old fashioned way?
You know, I've wanted to try a deep fried turkey. I haven't.
Yeah, me either.
But Deem and I have hosted since we got married, and this year my cousin took it, so we're going over to her place, his
That's
house.
nice.
And
It's a lot easier when you're not
making,
home. It's a lot easier. You just got to bring us, you know,
we
side
like
or-
it. We like having the family over. It is a lot of work.
Yeah, you got to clean up before they show up, and then you got to clean
Yeah.
up afterwards. It's like a double, and then it's like
It's definitely a lot of work. But to open up your house to the family,
that's nice.
yeah, we do. We do like it. I think the thing that I'm going to enjoy is I actually get to be with the family instead of you're in the kitchen, you're making sure everything's coming out.
Yeah.
Right. What about you guys?
We're going to my brother's, so we just bring in. My wife makes an awesome butternut squash soup, and I think her famous corn casserole,
Oh,
and a couple birds and a lot of desserts. And my brother's got a nice little setup, like a pool table, and
oh, nice.
we hang out. My dad, I miss my dad. He used to do it at his house. We have, he lived out he had 5 acres. We used to call it Hillbilly Christmas. Ride 4-wheelers and shoot skeet and shoot guns and targets and stuff. That was fun. So, no, just low key dinner and mass. I'm going to do mass.
That's 3 things to do for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Go to mass.
Go to mass. 1, 2. What would you say? I would say prayer before meal.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Set aside that time, that sacred time. You're coming together as a family. Give praise and thanksgiving to God.
Serve if you can some way. I know our parish does. They deliver food and stuff like that. I worked Saturday. We gave out 3,000 turkeys from the city I work for.
Mm.
So that was nice to help people have a Thanksgiving. So that was nice.
And even to go back to the service thing, people can gravitate to naturally.
Yeah.
It's easy for us to serve. The praying out loud.
Yeah. Don't be scared to.
Yeah,
to
don't
do
be
it.
scared. Just say whatever comes to your heart. And even if you have to practice a prayer beforehand, even if it's just saying the Our Father.
Yeah.
Offer the Our Father for your family. Offer the Our Father for your gathering. Offer the Our Father for our country and for peace.
Yeah.
There's also that bless us, O Lord. Google it. Bless us, O Lord. These thy gifts.
I just like the easy thank you, sorry, please. That's the easy thank you, Lord, for this. Sorry for all the ways that we fail you. Please bless us, bless the food. Just
We're about to eat.
this
Thank
is
you. Amen.
easy formula. Thank you, sorry, please.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Go to mass.
I'm looking forward to it because we're off Friday. So,
Pray. Serve.
my wife's also making a Thanksgiving sangria, some things she found online. So I'm looking
nice.
forward to some fancy, I don't know, pumpkin sangria, whatever.
Oh, you lost me with pumpkin.
I don't know if it's pumpkin. It's something that's fall. It's not like the normal sangria.
I had a pumpkin spice latte.
I don't like
time this
pumpkin.
year.
I don't think it's pumpkin.
Anything pumpkin scented, flavored.
No,
We had
I'm not a
pumpkin
fan.
soap in the bathroom.
No.
In the office. Oh, it's just the worst.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I don't think it's pumpkin. I want to say it's I don't even know. Something fall.
Yeah.
I don't think it's pumpkin. She knows I don't like pumpkin, so let's hope not.
Well, have a blessed Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy
Everybody,
Thanksgiving.
yeah, watching, listening.
Yeah.
Want to wrap us up?
Yeah, say a prayer in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Lord, we thank you for all the blessings. We pray for all those families coming together that could be contentious for a lot of families, a lot of loved ones who are missing and have passed. We pray for the families to be peace, that this be a time of enjoyment and praise and love, that those who don't have anyone to share with, that you find a way to bring them into community with each other. We thank you, Lord, for this show and this media team. We thank you for this gift to be able to share our faith, our love of Jesus with others. We ask you to bless us and bless those who are listening. We ask this through Jesus Christ our Lord. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thanks for watching.
God bless.
Like and subscribe.
Yep.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe. Thanks,
Like,
Mike.
share, subscribe.